Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, कारू न्यूज, V4 स्ट्रीम, मलनाडु टीवी इंडिया, न्यूज गांव से, संवाद सारोका न्यूज, भारत पोस्ट न्यूज, ज्ञान and organ donation India Foundation. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic, and today's is our in Gyan Ki Pathshala. Our topic is Youth Conclave on Analytical Skills. But before I will go on my topic, I would like to inform you that today the country is celebrating Mahashivratri. Mahashivratri is a Hindu festival celebrated annually in the honor of the god Shiva. The name also refers to the night when Shiva performs the heavenly dance. There is a Shivratri in every lunisolar month of the Hindu calendar on the month's 13th night and the 14th day, but once a year in late winter, February or March or Faguna, and before the arrival of summer marks Mahashivratri, which means the great night of Shiva. It is a major festival in Hinduism, and this festival is solemn and marks a remembrance of overcoming darkness and ignorance in life and the world. It is observed by remembering Shiva and chanting prayers, fasting and meditating on ethics and virtues such as honesty, non-injury to others, charity, forgiveness, and the discovery of Shiva. The ardent devotees keep awake all night. Others visit one of the Shiva temple or go on pilgrimage to Jyotirlings. Media conference with Lal Goel wishes you all on this auspicious occasion and happy Shivratri. Now coming on the main topic, that is Youth Conclave on Analytical Skills. Analytical skills is the ability to deconstruct information into smaller categories in order to draw conclusions. Analytical skills consists of categories that include logical reasoning, critical thinking, communication, research, data analysis, and creativity. Analytical skills is taught in contemporary education with the intention of fostering the appropriate practices for future professions. The professions that adopt analytical skills includes educational institutions, public institutions, community organizations, and industry. And to discuss this very, very important topic about the analytical skills, we have two chief guests, eminent personalities, and we have youths from Pan India, universities or institutions and the colleges. So it's going to be a very interactive session. I am sure that those who have joined our this live telecast, or those who are watching this show right now, or who will be watching even afterwards, will be immensely benefited. I would like to invite my first chief guest, and he is Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran is the former visiting professor IIM Lucknow and University of Texas at Dallas, USA. He is the senior director of Don Bosco Group, Bengaluru. He is the founder of Dr. Sharan Consultancy, California, USA. He is the director of Aldo Private Limited, New Delhi. He has done his MBA from IIM Ahmedabad in 1980. He did PhD in 1986. He started teaching and researching business and entrepreneurship since 1984. He published research papers in reputed journals, international seminar proceedings, and chapters in books of readings. He started academic administration phase as dean in 1997, rising to executive director, controlling management and engineering institutes in 2007. Her Highness Governor of Karnataka, nominated Dr. Sharan to the Senate of Bangalore University in recognition of his distinguished academic contributions. He was visiting professor to universities of Texas at Dallas from 2012 to 2019. He also visited Washington State University and President University Indonesia on the invitation of the Dean Faculty of Business in 2018. He innovated and implemented a unique model to double the turnover with existing infrastructure in one accounting year. He is co-promoter of Institute of Family Business Management Society. He is honorary director of NCR Delhi-based high-tech B2B digital startup. He is also co-founder of OWGI Foundation, which promotes social entrepreneurship ventures. Welcome, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran on our show. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, today's topic is about the analytical skills. So we would like to know your views first about on this program, which is called Youth Conclave on Analytical Skills, which is under the Gyan Ki Pathshala. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel, for this grand opportunity to all of us in whatever role we are taking part today. I cannot emphasize the importance of today's topic more. I'm very proud that I have my friend from 1985, Dr. Anand Mohan Agrawal, as my co-panelist to leverage my happiness beyond measure. Together, we will try to answer the questions, doing full justice to the spirit of the questions. If you ask me, why is today's topic so exciting to me, my answer will be pointing to the very nature. Every human being has this faculty of analytical ability in his mind. What distinguishes is, on certain days, in certain moments, in certain situations, it functions well. And when misfortune strikes, it malfunctions as well. And that is the beauty of human beings. The skill can function, can malfunction. In this lies the beauty of analytical skill. I'm sure it may be sounding esoteric to many of you. So let me tell you, analytic skill is one which can make the pauper a king, and when it malfunctions, it can make the king a pauper. What more could describe to you, crystallize to you, the significance of analytical skills? In order to grasp this one, let me narrate the famous story of 6 blind men and the elephant. Very briefly, 6 blind people were walking down. Then they came across a creature. They did not know what the creature is. So they decided, let's find out. And one of the blind men touched the legs of the elephant and he exclaimed, "Oh, this creature is like a pillar." The other person touched the stomach of the elephant and he exclaimed, "Oh, this creature is a wall." A third person touched the tail and says, "Oh, this animal is like a rope." The fourth one touched the ears of the creature and says, "Oh, it's like a fan." And so on, so forth. Analytical skill, if you ask what is it, and if we end up asking a blind person, no offense meant to anybody, all you will get is a partial answer. Analytical skill at its best is not partial. As you described in your introduction, it is a means to break down a complex thing into parts. This is what the story of the 6 blind men and the elephant says. Analytical skill in action. And where it gains is, what most people overlook is, the truest analytical skill is one where the second part gains significance. After breaking it down, analyzing each of them, reasoning what is what and where does it fit, we come up with a summation of them all. Summing this up is what the blind men will miss. They won't add the parts to the total and come up with the whole elephant as their conception. So today, I will take this opportunity through your good platform of media conference and narrate this missing part. More than 40 years of decision making, both on the theory side and on the practice side, has taught me analytical skill is not what blind man said elephant is. Analytical skill is the hidden part where we take the components and combine it. That is how the scientific management was born. A man named F.W. Taylor looked at the decision-making complexity in a pig iron factory, and he says, manager's job is to break it down to manageable components, find a person who can perform each part. If the person lacks competencies, develop him, train him to do that part. And as a result, productivity will increase, profitability will increase, and the final thing which a manager has to do is that divide that profit into three parts: to the people who did the work, to the people who made the work possible, and to investors who created the whole organization. So this is one basic thing. And in order to make this day memorable, because this is a special day, as you said in your introduction, Mr. Goel, this is Mahar Shivratri, when Lord Shiva does something spectacular. Analytical skill tells me every year a day will be day of Mahashivratri, but in English calendar date will not be there. I will remember it because this is a special day of my life personally. 40 years ago, exactly 40 years ago, on this day, but a different date, 40 years ago in 1982, Mahashivratri was on 22nd February. I remember it because that is the day I found my life partner in a city called Kashi, and which is the abode of Lord Shiva. What could be more auspicious? But this year, Mahashivratri on a different date, March 1. So it is only the analytical skill at its fullest glory which shows this fine distinction. The day is same, but the date is not. So this is why the beauty of analytical skill lies. Therein lies the whole power. That is why I'm excited. Now, one final story and I'll stop. Suppose a company in Bangalore hires me to recruit the CEO who is best fit for the fast-growing startup. The people who hire me to hire the CEO on their behalf, because I'm expert of C-suite level talent recognition, they tell me there is a limit. You can ask two main questions only from the candidates, only two questions. And you can ask 4 follow-up questions. They want to be sure that I'm the right guy to find them the right guy. So they say, which will be your main questions and which will be your follow-up questions? Suppose you were me, you will answer that my first main question will be, what will the candidate do to ensure a scalability which will make it a unicorn in reasonable duration of time? Question 1. Question 2 will be, ask the person, briefly tell me how will you do it? What will you do and how will you do? Which will be my supplementary questions? My supplementary question is, with whom will you team up? Where will this team function? Why will they work the way they are doing? When will they do it? These are my 4 follow-up questions. Now, those of you who are discerning will realize there is a famous quotation which I have put to good use in the name of my analytical skill to find the right CEO for the organization. And the saying is, a wise man must keep 6 friends with him all the time. And the 6 questions are what, how, where, when, why. Now, these 6 wise questions are the entire beauty of the analytical skills which we possess. When the analytical skills function, as I said, a pauper becomes king, and when it malfunctions, it cuts the other way. The king becomes pauper. With this introduction, I'll stop. Looking forward to the excitement today. Thank you, Professor Agrawal. Thank you, Mr. Goel. And thank you all the participants to be here with us.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, for giving your introduction about the analytical skills. And Professor Saran says that if it is used properly, then the pauper can become king. And if it is misused or malfunction, then it will become, king can become a pauper. So analytical skills are very, very, very important in anybody's life, but only and especially those who wants to use it for the purpose for their growth in the life, and then they have to be very, very careful when they are doing it. And he has also mentioned about the story of the blinds and the elephant. So now, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, for giving your introduction of this topic. And now I would like to invite my next chief guest, and he's Professor Dr. Anand Mohan Agrawal. Professor Dr. Anand Mohan Agrawal is the Pro Vice Chancellor of United University Prayagraj. He has 3 decades working experience spreads across a span of almost 3 decades, wherein he has been at the important position of reputed institutions. He is an institutional builder and has established extension centers of BIT Mesra in India and Middle East. At GLA University, he established a university polytechnic and is continuously guiding the university on the path of excellence and quality education. A PhD from ISM Dhanbad, he completed his graduation, BSc Engineering Mechanical, as well as MBA from BIT Mesra. He started his career from ISM Dhanbad in 1984. Then he moved to AICTE as director in 1995. Further, he joined IGNOU as professor in 1999 and then back to AICTE as advisor 1 in 2000. In 2001, he came to his alma mater, namely BIT Mesra, where he went on to become dean. He joined at BIT International Center, Muscat, as director and dean in 2005. Continuing his progression, Professor Agrawal joined OMZEST, Oman, as general manager, knowledge initiatives, wherein he served for 2 years before joining GLA University Mathura as Pro Vice Chancellor and Director in October 2012. He has guided 10 PhD scholars and has written 1 book. He has been member of various committees, including NAC and NBA. He has more than 35 publications in reputed journal and has been awarded Best Paper Award twice by Indian Institution of Industrial Engineering. Professor Dr. Agrawal was a member of editorial board of IIIE Journal and also member of Board of Examination IIIE. He has been awarded Performance Excellence Award by IIIE at Dubai in 2015 and Professor J.M. Mahajan Award in 2017. Welcome, Professor Dr. Anand Mohan Agrawal on our show. Professor Dr. Anand Mohan Agrawal, you have heard what Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran had mentioned. Now, being an engineer yourself and you have hold so many top positions in your career, and still you are holding a very important position as a Pro Vice Chancellor of United University Prayagraj. We would like to know your views on today's topic, that is the Youth Conclave on Analytical Skills. Professor Dr. Anand Mohan Agrawal, please.
Thank you, Mr. Lal. And I'm so happy to be on this show with my longtime friend, Dr. Saran. We have very happy memories of the past, young days, different kind of lifestyle, and so on. Welcome, my students and future of this country. We have to be very, very clear that the future belongs to the computational power. Dr. Saran was talking about the elephant and 6 blind people. I will just add to that without analytical skills in the modern society, we are like blind people. The reason being that we are every day bombarded with so much of information that if we are not able to find out the right thing which is needed for our organization, our company, our business, then we will be loser. Last week, you have seen the Russians attacked Ukrainians, and the impact was felt throughout the world. Why? Because we are all interconnected now. We all are having our business interests such complex that if anywhere anything happens, we are impacted. When we were students, we didn't have computers. I saw the first computer when I completed my MBA, and my alma mater had got a computer in the same year. And in those days, computers were worshipped like God. You have to enter in the room, removing your shoes, socks, just like you are entering in a temple. We didn't have so many packages, statistical packages, mathematical packages, which you have today. I'm not saying that we were disadvantaged or whatever may be. Maybe in those days, we were applying more of our brain to analyze things because we only had calculators. And those also, very few people had very sophisticated calculators. Normally, we didn't have because the cost was very high. In engineering students, we were having slide rules, which you might not have even heard, through which we used to make calculations, logarithmic tables, and so on. But let me tell you something about today. Take any field. You will find that people talk of analytics. I'm running an university. We have management program. And many subjects which we were teaching to our students even 5-6 years ago have vanished. Or they have now included analytics in that. Marketing analytics, HR analytics, financial analytics, data analysis. Because now people want that if I change one figure in my balance sheet, how does it look at different places? As I was telling you, I never learned Excel till few years ago. But then one day my son, who was doing MBA, he showed me the power of Excel sheets. And then I decided, no, I must learn. It took little more time than what you would have spent when you were learning. But yes, now I have learned and I can play with it reasonably well. I will not say very fast, but yes, reasonably well. I'm finding that when I'm guiding my PhD scholars today, and the type of data they bring, the type of databases that are available on the web are mind-boggling. And when we sit with them and we try to analyze, draw the graph, try to project future, it looks like I am in a different world. Dr. Sharan was talking about selection of CEOs. Many CEOs or potential CEOs have failed because they did not keep themselves abreast with the latest analytical development. I'll give you an example. The budget comes in the month of February. The day budget comes, Earlier, if you see some videos of maybe 15, 20 years ago, or then many people, many industry captains will sit together on a round table and finance minister is reading the budget. And then they will try to analyze what will be the impact and this and that. But today, when the budgets come, the impact is felt within minutes, because immediately the analytic people will put those figures and see the impact. Any field you take, I want to know what is the productivity of my workforce. I can get it in 10 minutes. I have to just push some buttons on the computer and it will give me the result that such and such department has so much productivity, such and such department has this thing, such and such department could not achieve their target. My sons are also MBA and they work for different companies. I see they come back home after whole day of job until still they will be on their laptop because they have to send some report, they have to update certain information, and similarly take the information from their subordinates. So my suggestion to all of you is that if you all are having any software available, any package available, please learn it thoroughly. Please go through every feature of that statistical package and then try to learn how to use it. You must be having your term papers, you must be having your projects, you must be having your other assignments. Try to utilize these things. Make nice presentation. You have to be ready with all data, all information every time in your life. Any moment, some client can come or some report has to be sent to regulatory bodies, or you have to bid some tender, you have to send some information to your bosses. Keep everything ready in various types of folders or files so that you don't have to struggle how to get information. When we were a student, we never thought that I have to send some information within minutes. Nowadays, what is happening? People are sending WhatsApp and they are expecting that within 5 minutes, you will be replying them about the content, about the information and so on. If you switch off your, or if you just cut your Wi-Fi connection or data pack, your boss will call you and say, why are you away from WhatsApp? Why are you away from mail? The reason is very simple, that we are in a complex world. The complexity has to be properly understood and addressed in such a manner that you are able to be ahead of others. We do not know what will happen to the share market tomorrow, because the war in Ukraine and Russia is prolonging. Other countries are also stepping in to protect Ukraine. But if I have data, if I have some analysis, yesterday ruble fell 30% in Russia. Why it happened? Because they blocked their SWIFT account in Europe. So I must be aware of these terminologies. I must be aware of their impact. I must be aware of collection of those data. From where do I get? There are various agencies which give data free. There are also some paid data available that you have to pay for those data. you must know. And as I said, your ability to handle this, because collecting data is sometimes not a problem, but how to get inference from there is a big, big ability of yours. So I'll close here, and I will expect that you will be having some questions, which I and Dr. Sharan would like to reply as much as we can. Or if there is something which we do not know today, we will certainly try to be with you, touch in with you, and reply. Thank you very much, Mr. Lal.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Anand Mohan Agrawal, for giving your views. And as Professor Agrawal mentioned, how important is the analytical skills are. And that's true that today, now we have so much technology advanced. But at one time, as he mentioned about the budget, I went to my own memory and I found I was somewhere in late 80s. I attended the famous budget speech of Nani Palkiwala. He used to analyze the budget, and his speech is considered to be the more impactful, more analytical than the speech of the finance minister. And it was held in the CCI Mumbai, at that time Bombay. And when I went there and I was attending, and I saw in the next row, in the front row, I was sitting in the second row, Dhirubhai Ambani was sitting, and many, many top business community was sitting, listening to his analysis. So the analytical skills were used earlier also. At that time, it was not with the technology. People were using their brains and their experience. But now you all are lucky to have as the Professor Agrawal says, that he saw the computer when he was in MBA. I think I saw computer quite late, somewhere in 80s. I don't know when I was in the business. But so it is very, very important for the youth to understand the analytical skills by using their brains, by using the technology, by even using the artificial intelligence and whatnot. So thank you very much, Professor Dr. Anand Mohan Agrawal, for giving your initial opening remarks about the analytical skills. Now I would like to invite my youth guest, and I would like to invite my first youth guest, and he is Mr. Abhinav Rajora. Mr. Abhinav Rajora, you have heard both the chief guests, Professor Dr. Sharan as well as Professor Dr. Agrawal. Please introduce yourself and ask the question.
So good morning, everyone. Myself Abhinav Rajora. I'm from Delhi. So my question
please give your institution name, your class, and the city. Yeah.
I'm from Sandeep University, Nashik. Currently pursuing my BBA in marketing. So my question is, how can we avoid the mistake? Like Professor Agrawal said, the data that comes to you is very confusing. Then how can we avoid some mistakes to create that may not impact the decision making?
Okay, thank you, Professor Sharan.
You see, there are two ways to avoid the mistakes. One is to go to the technique itself, the description, the manual which is there, and they will say what form you have to put the data in, how to clean the rough data, how to input it. For example, Professor Anand Mohan Agrawal mentioned a statistical package for decision makers, social sciences. In that one, when I was using it in 1978 for finding, let us say, capital busting parameters like net present value, there used to be a printout in the computer center kept in a drawer alphabetically. Suppose I want to use multiple regression, then it says these kind of variables are okay, these kind of variables are not okay. So that is one way to avoid the mistakes. The second one is learn from experience. Even if we are doing things as told there, but some things are not told. Everything is not told in college. Some things we learn in what we commonly say school of life. So I found out if there are qualitative data which filter my quantitative data, I get much better results. This I learned from the school of life. And later on, my multiple regression became so powerful that very distinguished teachers and executives were eager to talk to me to learn my experience. This is my answer to you.
Thank you, Professor Saran. Professor Agrawal, what would like to add in this?
Yeah, I just forgot the name of the, sorry, Abhinav. Abhinav, you see, every data that is coming to us is not useful to us. It is our ability to keep the so-called less useful data separate and useful data separate. How to do that? See, you have to understand the theory behind any analysis very clearly. Many a times what is happening in the current youth, that they don't try to understand the theory behind that analysis or theory behind the problem. You have to be very thorough about your subject. If something is like HR related, then we have to only filter out the HR related data. If it is something like, as Dr. Saran said, capital budgeting or ratio analysis or balance sheet analysis, then what are the important things in balance sheet? I must know. Not all the information in balance sheet is needed for report generation. So you must understand your subject very thoroughly. Whatever is your specialization, you are doing BBA, you will be taught all the subjects, HR, finance, marketing, maybe materials management, and all the subjects will be taught. You have to understand that in what subject, what type of data is needed. Once you are able to do that, you will be better. And of course, what Dr. Saran said, nothing is more important than your own experience. And that is why you must try to also have healthy discussion with your colleagues. Sometimes your colleagues' experience also may help you to do things better. All right, because it is not we don't need to reinvent wheel every time. We can learn from others. We can learn from others' mistakes, others' success, and use it at the appropriate time. See, many a times what happens, we know the subject, we are appearing in an exam, but the retrieval process doesn't get activated. I am not able to get at that moment of time the real answer. Okay, so this retrieval becomes very important. I hope I have been able to.
Thank you, Professor.
Something.
Thank you, Professor Agrawal. Thank you, Professor Saran, and thank you, Mr. Abhinav. My next youth guest is Group Captain Atul Nandedkar.
Yes, good morning, all the dignitaries. And I am Group Captain Atul Digambar Nandedkar. I am from Sandeep University. I am pursuing my MBA in Marketing Management. And first of all, I would like to see that Dr. Sudhir, I would like to congratulate him and extend my best wishes, because what I heard that today is happened to be his anniversary.
Captain, we have very less time. Please come to
Yes,
the question, please.
Yeah, question is that now my question is related to this only, sir. That today, if you see both the speakers talking to carefully, what they mentioned, that time is very important. If you catch the right time, right information, then you are the leader. Now, what is happening that our system tells us professionally something, and you are testing us analytically. Professional and analytical. My straight question to Dr. Sudhir is that how much percentage is the analytical important with profession? Because all the analytics afterwards you are training them. So when you go as a profession, how much is the analytical part important in your life? That is what my question.
Okay, thank you, Captain. Now my question goes to Professor Agrawal.
Yes, Group Captain Atul, you see, this is a very difficult question. The reason being that not every day is same. When we go to the office, at least what I do is that I have a habit of having small waste papers which I staple, and on the other side I jot down that today I have to do these many things. say I have jotted down 8 activities to be done. Now, when I reach my office, there may be certain emergencies or certain other incidences which have happened, which come to my notice, and then my priorities get changed. Okay. Now, as an administrator or as a person at a senior level, I have to very quickly decide that what will be my revised priority. It is not necessary that 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, which I made, will remain same. Maybe that I have got an emergency, so I will change my priority. Maybe 2, 3 are left. I can do it later on. But having said this, I have to keep in mind that the information that I require for my decision making is available on my table at right time. Whether I will use it today at 12 o'clock or today at 4 o'clock or maybe tomorrow at 8 o'clock, I do not know because my priorities are changing. But my profession demands that management, you must have been taught, or we teach, that it is nothing but handling the situation. I have to handle the situation in such a way that people are not impacted adversely. And that is why analytical ability cannot be defined in percentage. Depending on your profession, you will have to decide that how much analytics is needed. Like suppose you are from Air Force, my brother also retired as group captain, so I know how much information you play with. The information about weather, information about the movement of other aircrafts and helicopters, what is the, particularly in the wartime, what is the new things that the enemy is doing. So all this thing will change according to the profession. As a teacher, if you ask me, maybe we require analytical ability very less. The reason being that we are more concerned about taking classes. But then, as I said earlier, the class taking has become very, very challenging nowadays, particularly post-Corona. During Corona, we shifted to Zoom platform on which we are connected today. The teachers had to learn how to make PPTs, how to share the screen, and all these things we never knew 2 years ago. So the abilities can be developed provided we know their power and their use. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Agarwal. Professor Sudhir Saran, what would you like to have had?
You see, there is just one important thing which you keep in mind when you are tackling professional versus analytical. And that is adopting some such gold rules as laid down in 80-20 rule by Pareto centuries ago. Professional will be dictating the filter by which you will pick up challenges to which you will apply your analytical competency. And therefore, pick up those 20% of the situations and challenges which contribute to 80% of the results. This is how your professional and analytical will be integrated together. They will not be pulling in two opposite directions, and you won't have dysfunctional stress. If you follow 80-20 rule to integrate professional and analytical, success will always be in your lap. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Saran, and thank you, Group Captain Atul. Now, my next youth guest is Miss B. Saraswati.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. So my question is...
First you did, please introduce yourself first.
My name is Saraswati and I am from St. Joseph's Degree and PG College. I'm currently pursuing MBA first year, first semester.
Which city?
Hyderabad, sir.
Please go ahead.
So my question to you is, what are the various web analytics softwares which people use to make decisions?
Professor Saran, please.
The web analytics software are countless. Today, more than the analytics software availability, the knowledge or competency which is valuable is Saraswati, finding out which one fits better for your application of real world challenge. It is not knowledge of which are the web analytics software, but understanding, as Professor Agarwal said, in case of theory, you need to know your theory. Similarly, you must have an IT specialist in your team who knows about web analytics applications and does it. Most of them, you will realize, are VUCA, VUCA, universe tools, and the fit is a function of the USP each one is having. Every ambitious person develops these techniques, and therefore don't listen to their sales talk, listen to the real thing. This is my suggestion to you, Saraswati. I hope I answered the crux of your question. I'll remain short because many questions are following.
Thank you, Professor Saran. Professor Agarwal, please.
Yeah, Saraswati, you see, as Dr. Saran said, every minute the softwares are coming, the apps are coming. What you need to know is that what are the standard softwares that are available in your college. Most of the colleges are having SPSS package, MATLAB, and other things, which are the very powerful softwares. If your college does not have it, you can find it out, the academic version on the web also. Try to learn yourself. But I'm sure that the MBA colleges have these softwares. The other softwares that are available or the tools that are available will come to you automatically. One more thing, as Dr. Saran said, do not think that I will know everything, because the organizations mean that you have synergy from different specialization people. So if you have done MBA marketing, there must be some people in your group, in your organization, who is from core IT background, computer science background, or who have got knowledge of various IT tools. So I will again repeat what I had told earlier, that you must be very, very thorough with your theoretical knowledge.
Yes.
Once you have that, you will always be able to identify what are the softwares that can be used. And here one thing I will try to inform to all my students is that you must have heard the word plagiarism. Please try to avoid plagiarism in any activity that you do, in your teaching, in your job, or anything. Because it shows that you are an honest person and you do whatever you do on yourself, or if you have taken from someone, you acknowledge them, that this work was done by Mr. X, and I am acknowledging. If you are taking any graph, or if you are taking any table or anything, acknowledge them properly in your work. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Agarwal, and thank you, Ms. Saraswati. Now, my next youth guest is Mr. Dharji Soma Sai Kiran. Please unmute.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. I am Sai Kiran. I am studying MBA first year in Mari Lakshman Institute of Management and Technology. I am from Hyderabad, sir. Today, my question is how these analytical skills play a major role in interviews, sir.
Professor Agarwal.
You see, in interview, what happens that people try to check your confidence. All right. They will not, of course, if there is any other test, they must have taken earlier, any written test or any software, programming test, whatever if they have done, they must have done. In the interview, normally what happens, as Sudhir was saying, that there are golden 6 words which we use. And there we try to see how confident you are. If you know a particular analytical skill, you can always give an example of that. That, sir, if I have to solve this type of problem, I can use this software. I will require this type of input. And it will give me this type of output. So whenever you go for any interview, try to understand about that company. Go through their website. Try to learn how many places their offices are there, what kind of geographical distribution they have, what kind of product they are making, what kind of services they are providing, who are their main competitors, and so on. And then you can always answer very confidently that, sir, if I have to do this, suppose I say that make a quarterly sales budget. You can always say that, sir, our competitors are this, and I will try to analyze their sales for last 6 months, so 2 quarters, 3 quarters, corresponding quarter, and so on. So be confident with whatever you know. See, many times what happens, we try to give answers very vague, very superficial. No, little bit, but in depth. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Agarwal. Professor Saran.
I think the answer is complete. We are running behind the clock, so I'll pass up.
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you, Professor Saran, and thank you, Mr. Dharji. Now, my next youth guest is Miss Dhyaneshwari.
Hello, sir. My name is Naneshwari. I am from Sandeep University, Nasik, currently pursuing my BBA in marketing. So the creativity factor is more important in marketing. So my question is related to creativity. Sir, has rejection ever affect on anyone's creativity process? And if yes, then how to overcome it and how to keep that same enthusiasm again?
Professor Saran.
See, creativity is like oxygen to marketing. If everybody is thinking of promoting their product, then there is cutthroat competition, red ocean competition is there. It is only creativity which comes up with the alternative which nobody else has thought and gives you first mover advantage. So I'll fully agree with you that creativity is critically important. Now, how to keep it alive is, you see, be always experimental. Don't be ever complacent. In marketing, you know enough, but then learn one more thing. If in marketing you had many success, try one more experiment in product domain, in place domain, in price domain, in promotion domain. Keep on experimenting. By having the experimental attitude, you will be able to keep your creativity going, just as children do. Remember that, regain it. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Saran. Professor Agarwal.
Yes, you see, Dhyaneshwari, Dr. Saran has very well elaborated. I will just touch when you said rejection. See, rejection is a very relative word. Okay. I'll give you a very small story which happened with me. I went for my NDA interviews in 1977. And when after 3 days of all tests and this and that, they have a conference where they declare the results. And before declaring the result, the colonel or the whosoever was head there, he came and addressed us and said, Dharmendra had come for NDA, he was rejected. You see where he is now. Mr. X had come, he was rejected, and you see he is now at the top position. They were trying to motivate us that don't feel bad if you are not selected today. You are destined for much better place by the God. So never take rejection to the heart. Rejection does not mean that you were bad. Rejection only shows that at that particular point of time, the person who was evaluating me might not have liked my idea. I have I know there were many songs which were at one point of time rejected by some director, but the same song after a few years became the mega hit in the Bollywood. You must have heard, must have read. So don't take rejection to heart. And as Dr. Saran said, keep experimenting. The life is nothing but experimentation of my ideas. When we were a student, we had bell bottoms as pant. Then it went out. Now again drain pipe has come. The pants are becoming again very thin. I'm sure next will be bell bottom. So it's a cycle. Don't worry. All of you are very young. Do not close your experimentation just because at some point of time you had a unsuccessful attempt. Okay? Be always, of course, in the Corona time, we don't say be positive, but today I will say you must be very, very positive in your outlook. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Agrawal, and thank you, Ms. Dhaneshwari. My next youth guest, Ms. Karishma, are you there? You are not switched on your video. So
Yes, sir. I'm
so
there.
you have to switch on your video. Now, please keep video on. How I will see. Turn your mobile in a horizontal position. You joined late, so you are not there on time. Okay. You have to first introduce yourself, and then you have to ask question. Please.
Good morning to all of you. Myself, Karishma Chaudhary. I am pursuing MBA from Accurate Institute of Management and Technology, Greater Noida. Sir, my question is this.
Please switch on your video.
Sir, my video is on.
Okay. Now, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. My question is this: that how we can show good analytical skill in an interview.
Okay. Professor Agrawal.
Yeah, again, I think I answered earlier. See, no one is going to ask you to write 2 into 2, 4. Okay. It is your ability that whenever they ask question, how can you explain them that what kind of theoretical background will be needed and what kind of analytical tools I can use. Okay, like suppose I ask you just now that want to know that how many students of your batch are girls. How many students in your batch have science background? Because we do this kind of analysis every day in our institute to find out how many engineers are there, how many people from work experience are there. So you can always tell them that if I have to analyze my class, I can analyze with different parameters. Girl on a gender basis, on a experience basis, on a education background basis. Similarly, if someone asks you what kind of financial analytics you know, you can tell them that I can compare the balance sheet of 2 companies by putting the data. I can compare the ratio analysis and so on. Because normally they will never ask you in the interview board to do something analytical. But as I said, your knowledge of theory plus the backup of analytical skill is needed. Like we know there is a tally software for finance. We know Excel sheets. All these things. If someone asks you, suppose I ask you, if I have to find out the sum of 10 numbers, how will you do it? You must be able to say that this is how I will do it. Okay. So be confident. Show that you know it. All right. Your confidence will play the maximum role. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Agrawal. Professor Saran, please.
You see, I have just only one point for you. Suppose there are 7 people competing for one success. You are giving the interview. You want to know how analytical competency will work in your favor. Suppose the question the interviewer asks is, do you know about law of demand? You surely know it. don't answer in words. You just say to the interviewer, can I have pen and paper, please? Can I use it? And then you draw the y-axis price, x-axis quantity, draw the line, which is inversely correlated, as we said, negatively sloped one. Do this in front of the interviewer and then say, see, sir, the slope is negative, and therefore, when the price changes, quantity changes in the other direction. This is the way you score with your knowledge in interview situation. I think your concern was individual advice. Here we are getting the individual advice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Saran, and thank you, Ms. Karishma. Now, my next youth guest is Ms. Mohsina. Ms. Mohsina, are you there? Okay, please unmute yourself fast. Ms. Mohsina, please unmute yourself. I think some problem with your network. Okay, my next youth guest is Mr. M. Surendra Babu.
So good morning, sir. My name is M. Surendra Babu. I am from Mari Lakshma Reddy Institution of Management, MBA, Hyderabad. My question is to Sudhir sir. You sir told about F.W. Taylor. In F.W. Taylor, one of the essential important point is science is not a rule of thumb. Can you say briefly about that?
Okay, Professor Saran, please.
Taylor did a very basic work, picking up from Adam Smith's experiment in the pin factory to prove division of labor enhances productivity. When you understand this one, you understand why Taylor will say science is not rule of thumb, because it is systematic algorithm in our modern language, systematic process in classical language, which is science. Rule of thumb is heuristic, as we say this one. This is what he meant. And I hope you understand this one. Because of the paucity of time, I will leave time for Professor Agrawal so that we can wind up in about a minute each of the answers, because we have so much ground to cover. I'll stop.
Thank you, Professor Saran. Professor Agrawal, please.
Yeah. Surendra, you see, what do you mean by science? Science something is where we know the input process output. Whereas the rule of thumb is someone's individual experience or individual decision. So we in the modern world believe in more science. I will not say that rule of thumb is not working currently. It still works sometimes. But then, since as I said in my opening remarks, that our complex world is having impact from every action that is happening in the world, so more we do scientific work, the more chances of success are there. Earlier, our business domains were small, geographically located in a very small place, so rule of thumb was working. And that is why the Taylor and the Fayol and others' work are still quoted today. And when you become a student, those are the first few chapters that we teach you, because they are having very, very modern concept. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Agrawal, and thank you, Mr. M. Surendra Babu. I can see Ms. Mohsina, are you there? Mohsina, are you there? Please unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Good morning,
yes.
everyone.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Mohsina, I'm Mohsina, MBA student from Hindustan Institute of Management and Computer Studies. My question is
city.
Fare Matra.
Okay.
Fare Matra.
Okay.
My question is, as a student, how can we develop a strong analytical skill or improve it in challenging world?
Okay, Professor Agrawal.
I think you have answered yourself. The moment you know that you want to improve it, you will work on it. And I always say to my students that don't depend for everything on your college. Today's mobile phone are so powerful that if you have this knack of learning, you will learn yourself. So whatever is your specialization, be it marketing, HR, finance, or anything, try to do your work in an analytical way. Make your projects, make your term papers, make your assignments, which are having certain data, which you have analyzed it, and then you have given certain reports, which are again in the form of some graph or in the form of some table, where you are, you see, I will give you another example from medical science. When we were young or kids, we used to go to the doctor, he will see our pulse, touch our forehead, and give the medicine, that what is happening. But nowadays, what is happening? You go to any doctor, he writes you 20 tests. Because the doctor wants to know more and more about your body, that what is going on in your body. They will try to test liver, they will try to test kidney, they will try to test X, Y, Z. So same thing is happening in the business. You are going to know or collect the information about different aspects of business so that your decision which you will make is more accurate. Please do not be in this wrong notion that if I do analytically, my decisions will be always right. No, that never happens. So you have to try your best. And my suggestion is, I know Hindustan Institute is a very reputed institute because I have been to your institute many times. So try to take help of your teachers, try to take help of your director, and ask them if you do not have something. Nowadays, at least the academic version of all the softwares are available on the website. Please learn, okay? And learn only the relevant part. Do not try to be master of everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Goel. Professor Saran.
You see, around you, there are so many businesses, so many people who are struggling with making decisions. Befriend them, approach them, and try to help them. Practice makes one perfect. You have heard this one. Put this to good use. Help people in making decisions by applying your models, by applying your techniques, and this is how you master the analytical side of business and running a business. This is the basic, simple one available to everyone. There are no constraints. You can do that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Saran, and thank you, Ms. Moisina. Now, my next youth guest is Ms. Nivedita Pathak.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Nivedita Pathak from St. Joseph Degree and PG College. I'm pursuing my MBA from this college, Hyderabad. My question is, how can we differentiate between analytical and critical thinking, and can we use analytical skills in daily life?
Professor Saran.
Yeah, the distinction between analytical and critical thinking is academic. Both of them apply logic, which is deduction. Critical thinking does differ in one important aspect from the analytical one. Analytical is 90% deductive logic, 10% inductive logic, whereas creative thinking is the other way around. So they're complements to each other. And the way you framed your question, it was looking like they are two opposite ends. No, they are not. They make a whole together only. So thank you for the lovely question. It allowed me to make this comment, which we would have missed, and all our participants would have missed this important point. So this is it. That's not, the either or scenario. It is both scenario. What was the second important thing is the important decisions are too many. And therefore, you have to have a second layer of analysis. And that is, which are more important among the important. So this completes my response to you.
Thank you, Professor Saran. Professor Agarwal.
Yes, Nivedita, you see, nowadays there are so many jargons that sometimes we get confused. And that is why I think Dr. Saran very nicely said that critical and analytical are complementary to each other. See, the word critical is very, very difficult to understand. But very simple thing is that any thinking that you do is critical thinking. See, you must have taken a decision to do MBA. That was again a critical thinking from you, from your parents, from your other well-wishers. But then critical thinking in an organization is needed because the organization has to decide on some future course of action. So for that, in critical thinking, I will require certain analytical information. Without those information, you may not be able to complete your critical thinking. So whenever you take any decision, you have to have some information. Right now, my wife is sitting with me and she wants to order something and she is going through various sites and she wants me to look at those and then decide what should be the final course of action. So what she is doing, she is collecting information on my behalf. And when I finish this webinar, we will sit down and decide very critically that what will be our decision. So they are complementing each other. We must have this as a regular practice, that don't jump on any conclusion. Before concluding anything, you must try to do justice to the thinking process. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Agarwal, and thank you, Ms. Nivedita. My next youth guest is Ms. P. Pratyusha. And your voice is very feeble. Just bring it. Yeah.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Myself, Pratyusha. Currently, I am pursuing MBA in Mary Lakshman Reddy Institute of Technology and Management, Hyderabad. My question is, what is the difference between analytical skills and smart work, and how they are different from each other?
Professor Agarwal. Please unmute, Professor Agarwal.
Can you repeat the question, Pratyusha?
Yes, sir. What is the difference between analytical skills and smart work? If there is a difference, how they are different from each other?
All right. You see, we have two types of word smart. One that we teach in management, which is measurable, achievable. The other smart is the normal day word which we use, that I am very smart or I am smarter than you. Why this word has come in management? Because, as Dr. Saran said, there is cutthroat competition in the market. So I have to outsmart you. Whatever decision I take, I must outsmart my competitors. Otherwise, what will happen? All my analytical skills will be of no use if I could not outsmart my competitor. So whenever I am doing my analytical skills, I am putting it to my use, I must try to also forecast that what all my competitor is may be doing, what all information he may be having, what all tools he may be using. Again, I'll give you example of the war between Russians and Ukrainians. They are trying to outsmart each other. some propaganda they are doing. I have killed so many soldiers. I have destroyed so many tanks. I have brought down so many planes. So sometimes decision making is nothing but unnerving others. And that is the smartness. But then this smartness will not come without a very proper analytical use. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Agrawal. Professor Saran.
You see, the analytics or analytical skills fall into two categories. One is called qualitative, the other is called quantitative. How good a businessman is Mr. Goel? That is qualitative aspect. And how much bank balance does he have? That is the quantitative aspect. If you are using qualitative before quantitative, you are smart. If you are doing the other way around, you are not smart. This is the technical thing in the real world. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Saran. You please be smart, not otherwise you will see the bank balance. Now my next youth guest is Ms. Shreya Jain. Ms. Shreya Jain, please unmute.
Good morning, sir. Myself, Shreya Jain. I am pursuing MBA from Hindustan Institute of Management and Computer Studies, Faray Matra. My question is, how do you use advantages and disadvantages to make a decision?
Professor Saran.
This is a very standard algorithm in analytical ability. You write your option. In the next column, you write advantages, quantify them. In the next column, you write disadvantages, quantify them, and then do a simple addition for the two columns. Then subtract the disadvantages from the advantages. Balance if it is positive, go for that alternative. If the balance is negative, leave that alternative.
Thank you, Professor Saran. Professor Agrawal.
You see, Shreya, advantages and disadvantages that you are talking, and Professor Saran, as he has explained, have to be evaluated in the context of the situation in which you are there. It cannot have a permanent definition. Today, whatever is disadvantage to me may be advantage to me tomorrow. And that is why,
very good point.
That is why many a times we are keeping in our archives certain decisions or certain analyses which we have done, but we have not used it.
Beautiful.
Even if you see, when we were having the definitions for people who are disabled, we don't call them the disabled people. We call them disadvantaged because they are differently abled. Okay? And people have been using this word relatively in their business perspective. They have taken one step back today, but then they have taken 3 steps forward tomorrow because they converted the disadvantage into advantage. All right. So as a business student, you must be able to understand this, that nothing is permanent. All right.
Thank you, Professor Agrawal. Thank you, Ms. Shreya. Now my next youth guest is Mr. Vikas Singh. Please turn your mobile in a horizontal position, Mr. Vikas Singh. Unmute yourself fast. Please ask the question. Please unmute. Please unmute. We have very little time left. Yes, please go ahead. Ask your question. We can't hear you. No, I think some problem is there in your device. Okay. No, we can't hear you. You just try and log out and then log in. No, we can't hear you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. We can't hear you. Next time you send me your question, we will forward to you because there's some problem in your device. Oh, thank you very much. So we have completed today one round, and the one round has exhausted almost the entire time. So whatsoever questions you have, if you have some more questions or you would like to have some clarification, please send me a WhatsApp. I have all your numbers saved, so you can send me the WhatsApp. I will forward to my both the chief guests, and they will be able to send me the reply. I will forward to you. Now, for the closing comments about today's our this media conference, youth conclave, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, 1 minute, please.
Some of very beautiful aspects of analytical skills came out today from the questions and from the insightful observations by Dr. Agarwal. I am very happy that we did it today. It has stimulated my thoughts. I'll continue my investigation into analytical skills. Thank you for making me feeling young and energetic today. Thank you, Mr. Goel. It was a beautiful experience.
Thank you, Professor Saran, for giving your closing remarks. I'm sure the youth have got today what they wanted, but still, if they are free to ask these questions. Professor Dr. Anand Mohan Agrawal, your closing comments, please.
Thank you very much, sir. I am very happy to see that our future of this country is very active and agile. They are asking very pertinent questions, and they are aware about the current scenario. Your initial remarks and Dr. Saran's remarks and interaction with the students have really benefited me also. Certain things which we have never thought came to my discussion today. And I'm sure that this type of interaction will make our students very, very knowledgeable, and they will go back to their colleagues, friends, faculty members, and they will try to discuss with them whatever was discussed here today. I am very much thankful to you for organizing wonderful media conferences, and I wish you all the best to my students for their future career. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Agrawal. So, viewers, we have seen today the youth, the young minds, how analytical they are. They have analyzed, they have asked the question, and these are the things which are going to increase their analytical skills. And everywhere in our life, whether we are young, old, or adult, we require this analytical skills, whether we use our brain or we use the technology, but we have to use it. And our endeavor, our media conference endeavor is to bring to you all such type of topics where we want to involve the youth, so that the youth will get, although they are studying in their top universities, institutions, or the colleges, and they are getting the best from their faculty, but still, if when they are joining in this media conference, they are getting some views from those experts, which, as Professor Agrawal and Professor Saran said, they can discuss with their peers, they can talk to the faculty that we have this. Still, if you have any questions, you can ask the questions. And those viewers who are watching the shows, the youth, if they want to join media conference with Lal Goel on this platform of the youth conclave, they can approach to their institutions, ask the faculty to contact us or to any of our media channel partners. We will definitely be in touch with that institution, and in turn we will take you, because we want that if youth will be empowered, if you will be knowledgeable, then the day is not far when the India will become the real Wish Guru. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Karu News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Gyan, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor to bring to you every day new topic in our media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. And tomorrow, being the Wednesday, tomorrow we are going to have the Democratic Reform Series. And tomorrow our topic is educational reforms in India. Yes, you heard correctly, educational reforms in India. And our panelists are Professor Dr. Ashok Mittal, former Vice Chancellor, Agra University, Aligarh; Professor Dr. Vijay Srivastava, Principal, RBS College, Agra; Professor Dr. Ishpita Bansal, Dean, BPS Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Sonipat; and Dr. Sushil C. Gupta, Director, Prelude Public School, Agra. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, all our youth guests who have joined today. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran And thank you very much, Professor Dr. Anand Mohan Agrawal, for joining us, giving your valuable time and giving very, very good input, which are, I'm sure, very much enlightened to all those who have participated and those who are watching our show, or those who are going to watch the recording, which is are available on the YouTube. So thank you.